article that I chose for this assignment is called Can't Fix Anyone, Confronting Our Historical Love Affair with Deficit Thinking, which was written by Mark Latta of Marian University. Where did I find this article? On the Writing Lab newsletter website, and the title caught my attention. It's the Can't Fix Anyone part because it reminded me of my personal experience with the concept of being fixed. And as you can see from the two images I have here, we have the not good enough and the you are good enough, because growing up, my parents have really high standards for what they expect from me, which is valid. They want me to do my best, and that's cool, but when doing your best translates into you always need to be doing better than you were the last time, it's kind of like this never-ending ladder of improvement expectations, and that can just feel like instead of you always have to be better, it means you're never good enough. And so I can really relate to the concept in this article. So some of the main points were listed here. The opposing North is the first part. North's quote, "Our job is to produce better writers, not better writing." This kind of enforced the idea that writers have a deficit instead of their writing, making it about how the person isn't good enough instead of how the writing just needs improvements. Deficit thinking is thinking that the student is the problem instead of their education, considering the language, literaries, and cultural ways of being of many students and communities of color as deficiencies to be overcome. And deficit thinking assumes that every student can be made better. What does better mean? Better for whom and in what way? It targets personal identity. Deficit thinking focuses on looking for weaknesses instead of strengths. We need to stop trying to change the student and instead look at how might the learning environment, the way of teaching, the assignment, or the culture of schooling conflict with students' forms of cultural and community knowledge. So how do we induce change? Well, conceptually, we can introduce this idea, the development of critical consciousness, by situating peer tutoring as a collaborative, humanizing, and participatory endeavor that seeks to honor the multiple forms of knowledge, creativity, and solidarity that arise from marginalized experiences. We also use this concept called the funds of knowledge, which takes into account the kinds of knowledge that students already have from their past experiences and culture and helps them use it to their advantage in their writing processes. And then in practice, how we put these concepts to use, we ask questions to explore a student's perspective and take that into account when tutoring. So like at the beginning of the session when you're doing the get to know you part, you pay close attention and ask them about what they might have trouble with, but also what they're good at, what they're excited about by the project, what makes them frustrated about the project, the class, the teacher. That can give you a better idea of what their actual perspective is. And this is called the critical collaborative writing process, which accentuates gifts, resources, and strengths of the writer. Instead of putting them down and acting like there's something wrong with them, they just encourage the parts that are right with them. I personally think that this is a better way of writing, and I would definitely recommend that we have this article added to the curriculum. It's very short, and when we're not in the MUD system, there's plenty of time because it's only 4 pages. But it has some really good ideas that I think are important.